Okay, hey everyone, welcome. I'm DL Walker, and I am the creator of Fix You Online TV. So we are live on my YouTube channel called Fix You Online. So I'm going to go ahead and in the chat box, I'm going to go ahead and put the link to Fix You Online TV, because there are a lot of resources, and if you miss the video or whatever, it will be on the YouTube channel after we finish here. So if you have to leave or whatever, I'm going to give you the link, and that way you have it for that reason, and also so that you have a bunch of resources on Fix You Online TV, because Fix You Online TV has a plethora of videos on the foot and ankle and the toes, as well as general exercise and fitness. So my background is I am a licensed physical therapist with a bachelor's degree in fitness and cardiac rehab, and a master's degree in exercise science, and another bachelor's degree in physical therapy. So I did a lot of school when I was younger. And it had been my mission back in probably 1998 or so, when I was shortly out of physical therapy school, to create online programs that gave the power of healing back to individuals. So it's almost like kind of self-shamaning, or being like a DIY. And back in 1998, that was not something that was easily done on the internet, and now it's actually still not easy. But it is, it's getting easier. So again, this is the link right here to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and put them in the chat box here or on YouTube, and I will go ahead and answer them. So today, what we're doing is corrective exercises for toes. And I now call corrective exercises Correcticise, put it together. And the concept of Correcticise is not only are the exercises corrective, meaning that they have a purpose, okay? So I could go to a gym, and I could get on a exercise machine, but am I really understanding, am I really correcting my body by doing that exercise? Probably not. And the reason being is because most activities or exercises are not done correctly. So these are exercises that actually have a purpose, and the purpose is to correct your alignment. So if you're familiar with my work, you know that my goal is always to restore proper alignment in a system. And the reason being, because of a concept that I learned in my master's degree in exercise science, was that there is something called a length tension ratio. And what that means is that a muscle will contract with greatest vigor or strength when it is at a particular length. So if it is too long or too short, it's not going to work properly. And that's where posture and alignment really come into play. That those two factors are extremely important. So the way that we get into proper alignment is to have a body that is able to move independently to assume a proper alignment, and then we go ahead and do corrective activities to rebalance the muscles and hold that alignment properly, as well as having the cognition, okay, the understanding of the proper position of our area that we are working. So if you have any questions, I realize that might be a little bit confusing for some individuals, but if you have any questions about that, go ahead and put them in the chat box. So what I've been teaching, and this is on Fix You Online TV and on other memberships that I run, is that I have been working through the toes and the bones that are adjacent to the toes, called the metatarsals. And what they do is they are responsible for the alignment of the toes, and then also for things like balance, important for walking, important for agility, important to have mobility in those areas for disorders like hallux rigidus or limitus, for hammertoes, for bunions, and for talar bunions. Because if you notice, the majority of the deformities in the foot actually manifest at the toes, right? Because I just rattled off like 5 or 6 disorders. I didn't even include neuromas. But then even things like ingrown toenails or toenail fungus is a factor that is contributed to the alignment of the toes. So I can answer those specific questions later. I don't want to, talk too much. I'd rather get to the corrective exercises, which is what this is all about. So I'm going to show you some videos that I have, and again, they are available to you either on Fix You Online or on some membership programs that I have. But I'm going to go through why they are important and kind of how to do them properly. So I'm going to take you through some of my favorites and let you know which diagnoses these particular activities would benefit. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead on a screen share. Sometimes this takes a few minutes. So again, if you have any questions, you put them in the chat box. I can quickly just go on YouTube and see what's going on there to find out if there are any questions on the live stream as well. All right, so just give me a moment to go ahead and get to that, and then we'll get started with some of the corrective exercises. All right. Oh, and by the way, this is Fix You Online TV. So this is the YouTube channel that I was talking about. And like I said, there are a bunch of different activities about the foot and ankle, as well as fitness in general. So you have that link to go to when you are ready to go ahead and pursue that. Okay. So the first activity I'm going to show you is okay. Hopefully you are able to go ahead and see the video. So this is an activity called the push-off phase of gait.
To practice the push-off phase of walking, what you're going to want to do is...
So I'm having difficulty kind of seeing this. So would you tell me if you are able to see the video as I go ahead and do that? Would somebody put that in, that they were able to see the video? Because it's, no, you are not able to see the video. Okay. All right then. So, and you could not hear as well. All right, so let's go ahead and see what I can do here. So I'm going to share the computer sound, and I'm going to optimize screen for video clip. And I am going to go ahead and see if I can get it on here, which it does not seem like any of these videos are there. Okay, let's try again and see what happens. Now, are you able to hear me? And are you able to hear the see the video? 3 more. Okay. Okay, so yes, you are able to do that. You could hear it, yes, but then it went away. Yeah, I know. I'm putting it back on. I can't see when it's coming on. So I just wanted to also, could somebody put in the chat that they can hear me when when the video is on? Anyone? Yes. Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So I'm going to go back to it and just go ahead and talk. And if you can't hear it, put it in the chat box, please. Okay. I'm doing this a little bit differently this time, and it's a little daunting. So thank you for your patience. Okay. So what I'm going to do is, this activity is called the push-off phase of gait. And what happens here is that what you're going to want to do, now this is super important for anyone who has a hallux limitus, anyone who has a bunion, anyone who, and even a hammertoe, because hammertoes are often caused by a lack of the big toe being pressed into the ground. So I am holding on to a cane. I'm not using it. I'm just using it for balance while I'm doing this activity, but I could also put the cane over my toe as I go ahead and lift up. So you can do this so that you're keeping the big toe down as you go ahead and perform the activity. So I'll go ahead and take off the volume.
The lateral toes are really focusing on putting weight onto the big toe. The other foot is going to be in front in a normal size step. And then all you're going to do is peel that heel up off the ground and bring it down. Again, pushing onto the big toe, pushing the ball of the foot forward and peeling that heel up.
So I'm going to
set my knees, bending as I do this. And I want to pretend to show the bottom of.
Okay, so when I'm doing this activity, it's super important that when I'm coming down, as I'm coming up, I am not only just coming up haphazardly, okay? I am actually driving my focus and my energy toward the ball of my foot, okay? So I am actually driving this lower leg toward the ball of the foot, and then really trying to peel the heel up off the ground. And what that does is it engages the stabilizing muscles of the foot, okay? These are the muscles that are responsible for a nice arch. These are the muscles that are responsible for keeping your joints healthy. And there's another factor with regard to the exercise that says that you need to have stability in order to have mobility. And that is going to be activated when you're doing this. So remember, I said that these activities are not only corrective activities, but they are activities that need to be performed correctly in order to get the most out of the exercise. So people are not seeing the video. Okay. All right. So what I'm going to do then is I'm going to go ahead and go to my YouTube channel, or I could actually just show you the exercises, which might just be easier, because that's what the video's just not working. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my video camera, and then I will explain it to you, and I will demonstrate it on the ground right now. All right, so again, just give me a moment, and I apologize for this. Okay. All right, this is my foot. And I'm going to go ahead and show you the activity from this angle. The other one is a little bit better, and I apologize that we can't see it properly. But what I want to think about doing when I'm lifting my heel up, okay, and this is going to happen in several exercises, that I'm actually driving the force toward the ball of the foot and toward the toes as I'm lifting. So I am lifting and pushing forward. Okay, so I'm lifting and pushing forward as I come up off the ground. And I am trying to peel first the heel up, then the midfoot, then the forefoot, and then all the way up to the toes, and then bring it down one segment at a time. Everybody sees and hears, correct? Okay, as I'm coming up and down. Now you guys can go ahead and give this a try also. So I want you to feel the difference by just lifting your heel up, but then also now I'm pushing the weight of my body toward the toes as I'm going ahead and peeling up one segment at a time. And then I'm pushing forward with my toes as I bring it down. And I'm pulling up and I'm pushing down. Now, the beauty of this exercise, guys, is that it could be done at your desk when you're going ahead and doing your work, or when you're going ahead and doing other activities that are done in sitting. So you could even do this in your car. And that's another exercise that I do, is that I have my foot on the gas pedal, and I obviously have my other foot there on the side, but I'll go ahead and press my big toe into the ground or into the gas pedal as I'm driving. So I'm focusing on pressing my big toe down into the floor. Now, the reason that it's important that the big toe stay down is for balance. Our big toe is our primary balancer. So if you have hammer toes, there's two reasons for hammer toes. And one of them is that the big toe is not being grounded into the floor. That is one of the reasons. And the other reason is if you have a bone called the metatarsal that is dropped down to that floor as well. Okay. But so for those people who have hammer toes, this is another great activity to perform. Now, there's going to be another activity, speaking of hammer toes, that I'm going to show you, and it can be done with a cell phone charger cord. And what you can do there is you can just place it underneath the joint that has the hammer toe. So many people have the second toe as a hammer toe, and it's usually right at that joint. Now, all I need to do is bring my awareness to that string. So I'm not even holding it, okay? I am keeping it on the ground, but I'm just trying to push that wire down to the floor. Okay, and lengthen through the ball of the foot going forward as I go ahead and do that. So if I'm lengthening through the ball of my foot, I'm not going to be grasping in with the hammer toe. Now, these activities are more easily done in sitting, but to make them more difficult, you can go ahead and do them in standing. But you're going to use that same concept of trying to bring the ball of the foot toward the toes as you're doing this. All right. Now, here's another idea. I have a hammer toe, right? Well, I could just do that other activity that I was just showing you of peeling that heel up and down. And I could just keep this wire underneath, because what's happening with the wire is that it's providing what we call a proprioceptive input. It's telling that area underneath the wire, I want that you want to go ahead and provide a stimulation there. Okay, so that is a way that you can incorporate that activity, that first activity with hammer toes. The next thing that you can do is, if you are getting good at this, again, you're going to drive that ball of the foot forward. That's key. And then you'll gently go ahead and lift up. And you can do this on a bit of an angle, particularly if you have a crooked toe. So I have a crooked toe on the other side. And what I can do there is go ahead and take my wire. Now I want my toe to move toward the third toe, right? Because it's pointed toward the big toe. So what I can do is I can actually bias this wire to be pulling in the direction that I want the toe to go. Does that make sense? If anybody has a question on that, please put it in the chat box. So again, I'm trying to get this toe to move toward the fourth toe. So I'm providing a force in the and I'm not even pulling, guys. I'm gently holding so that I can now provide an input to the second toe to bring it more in alignment with the third toe. But guys, guess what I'm doing? I'm pushing, as I'm doing this, I'm pushing the ball of the foot forward for the toes, forward toward the toes. Now, guess what else I can do? I can start to lift my heel up. Now, what happens with toe deviations, and I think most of you can attest to this, is that when you have a toe deviation, it tends to exacerbate or get worse when you stand and when you lift your heel. If people agree with that, could you write that in the chat box? If you find that for yourself, if you could just go ahead and say yes or no. So again, I'm going to deviate this toe, and again, just hold slightly here as I peel up and I peel down, and I'm going to really focus on my alignment of my toes as I'm doing this. Good. Now, you guys can't see this, but what I can also do to make this a bit tougher is I can lay my arm, and I'm sorry, this is so close. I'm a one-man show here. I can lay my arm in a diagonal fashion on my knee, okay? And then I'm holding it and I'm gonna push down into my knee to get a force going down. And I'm gonna actually karate chop my hand in a diagonal fashion, okay? I can go this way, I can go this way. And I could do my other hand in the opposite, away or toward. When I do that, then I'm stabilizing my lower leg as I'm pushing forward, and then again, peeling that heel up and down. So what we're doing, again, guys, we're doing activities that are actually corrective, okay, for the responsibility of the muscles of our foot in daily life. And what is one of the most important things that our toes are needed for, and probably one of the things most of us have the most pain with, is walking. And that's what this is mimicking. Questions? Any questions? So what would we do if we had a bunion, right? So with our bunion, the big toe is deviated inward, right? So we want to stimulate it in an outward direction. So again, we'll just go ahead and take our wire very, very gently. And all we want to do is hold it. We don't want to move it. We don't want to pull the wire. We just want to hold it stationary. And then again, I can apply that pressure and lengthen the toe and just leave it there. Okay, I just leave it there and hold it. And I don't know if you guys are doing, is anybody doing these activities with me? If you could put it in the chat box. But I want you to, I think it'd be really wonderful if you gave it a try. To go ahead and now, again, you can go ahead and peel that heel up and down as you're doing it. Okay. So again, I'm pushing down with my hands onto my knee. So it goes through my leg. And then I am pushing my foot toward the toes as I'm doing the exercise. Okay. I'm going to come off for a moment and just talk about that a little bit more. I'm going to explain why it works. So first of all, if you are able to go ahead and if anybody's been doing the exercises, would you provide some feedback in the comment box? Or if you want to go ahead and say something, you can unmute yourself and ask any questions or provide some feedback on it. Because when you're doing it, it's challenging. It's actually really challenging. And I think what happens is that when we're doing activities, we think more is better, like more force or more movement. But when we're working with the toes in general, their job is not to move. They're not like the fingers. The fingers need to move, but the toes really need to stabilize and be mobile for walking and balance and those other types of activities. So does anybody want to comment on the activity at all? Anyone? Okay. All right. This can also be done just like a bunion. There's a tailor bunion, and I have a bit of one on my my left foot. So I'm going to go ahead and share what I would do for the tailor bunion. Okay. So again, my tailor bunion is coming in. I want it to go out. So I would just wrap my cord around the tailor bunion. Okay. And place it in a direction that is opposite and hold it there. Again, I'm going to press down on my knee, and then I can bring that foot up as I peel it up and bring it down as I peel it down. Bring it up as I peel it up and bring it down as I peel it down. And up as I come up and down as I come down. And continue to do that. Again, just applying an ever so slight force in that, or just an awareness to that direction that I want the toe to go. So anytime you want to stimulate a muscle to fire in a direction, a particular direction, you're going to want to apply some sort of input. So it could be my finger. I could just do that. Or it can be, like I said, a wire works really well. It's better for your back, et cetera, et cetera. Okay. Any questions on that? I'm going to move on to some other activities that are really good for hallux rigidus and also for bunions. Okay. So this one requires either a hair tie or a rubber band. And what you would do is you're going to go ahead and put it around the big toe. Now, this is great for hallux rigidus. So the more that you separate your toes, again, you want it to be a little bit on slack. Now, what you want to go ahead and do is just hold the foot into the position And just again, keep the awareness. What you can do here, you can place both hands on your knees. And then again, what are you doing? You're pushing forward and up and down. And you're peeling the heel up and you're bringing it down. So as I'm bringing it up, my force is forward. As I bring it down, my force is forward. It's always forward. Got it? Now, once I'm finished with this one, again, I can place my hands on my knees or not, and I can go ahead and place a movement, right, side to side. But guess what I'm doing, guys? I'm always pushing forward. So I'm going to keep my pen there so you can see the pen is in the direction. And I'm going to head and bring my knees over to my right. Okay. So my knees are moving over to the right and over to the left. And over to the right and over to the left. And again, I'm maintaining that pressure forward as I do this. If you're on a rolling chair like I am, you can go back and forward. But guess what I'm doing? I'm always pushing the ball of the foot in and forward, side to side. I can go around in a circle as I'm doing this activity. Now, again, it gets more difficult when you go ahead into standing. So when I go into standing, I can do those same activities side to side. And I can lift one heel up. I could lift the other heel up, or I could go up on tiptoes. And again, it's very, very subtle force. But what am I doing? I'm constantly pushing through my toes, pushing forward over the ball of the foot as I am moving forward. Now, what becomes very functional then is that when I am going to go ahead and start walking, so I'm going to go ahead and switch my camera. Okay, so when I'm going to go ahead and do walking, what I want to think about doing is I want to think about driving my momentum, which makes perfect sense, forward, right? Over my toes. I want to try to peel the heel up, and I want to try to show somebody who's walking behind me. I would say if I wanted to write something on the underside of my foot, I would want them to be able to read it. Okay. So if I wrote victory, okay, then somebody, as I was stepping forward, somebody would be able to read victory every time that I stepped forward. So again, these are activities you can create how much resistance that you are going to choose to put into that activity. Now, does anybody have a particular diagnosis that they have a question about that I have not covered? Anyone? What you can, another activity that you can do. Very few people are weak in their big toe, but you could actually also, I'm going to go switch videos again. Oops, sorry. Switch webcam. Is you could actually lift the big toe up. You could do activities like that, or you could switch lifting, and you could actually try to disassociate the big toe up and down. Again, it's not an area that's particularly common for weakness, but I just kind of want to illustrate the power of simplicity and the things that you can do at home. What if your big toe is
it's deviated?
Deviated secondary bunion. How do you help to push off better when walking deviated? deviated? So the answer to that is you really do need to get that big toe into alignment. And if you, you know, I do have a bunion solution program. That's one of the announcements that I'm going to be making. But you can get that, trying to get that big toe into alignment. So again, what you want to do, that's key, because I don't know if you caught the beginning of the lecture, but I was saying that the muscles work best when they are at a particular alignment. They contract with greatest vigor. It's something called the length tension ratio. And what happens is that if you have a deviated toe because of a bunion, you're at a big disadvantage. So there's two ways you really need to create mobility in the toe to get it into alignment. Now, how do you then get it into alignment? You could purchase something like the bunion, the toe spacers. You could purchase something like that to hold the big toe into alignment and then do the exercises. Or in the programs that I teach, I like to use tape. I like to use something called dynamic tape, or to put the joint into the proper alignment and then do the activities. Because again, the muscles will work best when they are at the right alignment. So that's why restoring alignment is so key. So again, what you would then do, so say I had a bunion, and what I would do maybe is put something like a spacer in between my toe, and I'll show you this on the video. Okay. But again, the key is that I am applying the force forward over the toes. So I'm going lengthening, and then I'm pushing through as I go up and down. As I go up and down. And again, you could apply, remember I said, if you're applying, if you're touching even the outside of the big toe, you're providing an input to tell the toe to go in that direction. So I'm not pushing anything. I'm just laying my finger there. And when I'm doing that, I'm providing an input. Now, you might not want to bend forward, right? Because maybe you have a bad back or something. So all you need to do is just you could actually put the other toe right there. And then go ahead and provide the input to go up and down. And that way, like I said, then you're reinforcing a good position, because if you're out of alignment and you're doing exercise, you're probably actually doing harm. It's like I use the analogy of driving a car on a tire that's flat. You wouldn't want to do it because you break down the car. So you really need to be in the best alignment. And that's why, you know, I created the programs that I created, because I know this. So another activity, and this is a super important muscle, it's called the flexor hallux brevis. And it attaches on the underside of the toe, the big toe. And again, the big toe actually ends right at, if you have a bunion, it ends right at the top of the bunion. It's at the ball of the foot, right? And that muscle is on the underside of the foot, but I'm going to draw where it is on the top. It starts right here, okay? And then it goes diagonally across all the way to the arch. I mean, all the way toward the fifth toe side at the level of the arch of the foot. So this is the arch of the foot. That's the direction. Now, what you can consciously do that is really helpful for a bunion, and again, this is just awareness, okay, is that you can actually try to not put pressure onto the big toe. But what you're going to do is you're going to try to take the big toe ball of the foot and pull it laterally or toward the fifth toe. And you can do that with the big toe off of the ground. You'll actually feel it even more, and you'll feel some calf muscles going in there. And again, to get more input, you'll just press down onto your knee to go ahead and try to stimulate that muscle to fire. In my program, the Bunion Solution, we put facilitatory tape in that direction to make it fire constantly, so that you get that input moving there. Because again, we want to rebalance the system. Now that muscle is key for grounding the big toe, but it's also key for allowing that big toe to splay. So again, if we want to splay our toes, that is, this muscle holds the joint in a position so that the splaying muscle can fire properly. So it's a stabilizing muscle. It's important for balance. It's important for the arch of the foot. There are very few, because again, it's not the function of the toes. There are very few active exercises of the toes, because again, those are lovely. And there might be something that you need to do in your life that would make that helpful. But the toes are usually functionally utilized for balance and for the push-off phase of gait or going up on the tiptoes. So that's how you want to train them. That's the correct way to train them properly to do what they need to do in your daily life. The other thing that toes get messed up with, or that it's functionally important, is how they lay in your shoes, because a lot of people have difficulty wearing shoes because of their deformities in the toes. Questions on that? Anybody have any questions? Okay. Was there any other diagnosis that people have questions about that I didn't cover? We went through Hammertoe, we went through bunion, we went through talar bunion, and we went through that big toe. We went through that stabilizing muscle that I was talking about, as well as splaying the toes. So the key, again, guys, is to help facilitate the appropriate muscles. And the way to do that, again, is to apply the force into the foot, right, by pushing onto the knee. You're pushing down on your knee. You can just rest your elbow on there. It's your forearm, sorry. You can rest your forearm on there. And then also applying that forward force toward the ball of the foot with the lower leg to go ahead and stabilize that particular area. So I had said that there are a couple of announcements. Okay, if anybody, so I'm going to go ahead and put my email in here. And you can also PM me, DL Walker, on Facebook if you'd like. BixUonline@gmail. What I'm going to be running, I don't know if anybody here has hallux rigidus, but I'm going to be running a course that I am vetting right now. So I'm going to need some feedback from individuals who are willing to go ahead and commit 4 weeks to their hallux rigidus or their hallux limitus. Clinically, I've had very good success. That means when I've worked with patients doing this, I was actually able to decrease bone spur size on MRI, which is pretty cool. And it's a big problem for some people. It usually requires surgery at some point. And the big toe is so important for our functioning, for our walking, for our hip health, that I think that it's a important topic to go ahead and try to do. So if you have that diagnosis or know somebody who does, and you're willing to commit 4 weeks to working online and even doing some lives with me to provide feedback as a group, reach out to me and we can talk about how that looks. The other thing is that I have, some of you know, I have a Bunion Solution program. Some of you are members of the Bunion Solution program. I am debuting the Bunion Solution 4.0. And the Bunion Solution 4.0 is, what it does is it creates a program based upon your bunion type. Now, if you don't know what your bunion type is, I will go ahead and there's a video that I have that will explain that to you. And you can go ahead and find out what type of bunion that you have. So that is going to be coming soon, and I'll be doing another live class talking more about the bunion types and the bunions solution stuff. So again, if you're not part of my mailing list, go ahead and drop me a line either on Fix You Online and provide your email so that I can put you on the list and you can hear about these announcements. You can also subscribe and follow my Fix You Online TV station so that you can get that. Now, with regard to the toes, I do have a bunion solution program. I do have a Hammertoe solution, and I do have a Taylor bunion solution. Now, I am also, and those are, they can be a bit costly. So what I've done is I've kind of created like a pre-course that is not so expensive and it could be cost prohibitive to some people, that just focuses on the toes. So it's a toe masterclass, and I will go ahead and put the link to it on here so that you can go ahead and take a look at it and see if it might not be something that you would want to dip your toes in the water. No, seriously, to go ahead and be able to get a sense of, hey, listen, you know what, let me give this a try without having to spend, my programs run about a couple $100. They're really, in the grand scheme of things, not that expensive, but I understand that that could be a lot of money for some people. And, especially now. So what I'm going to show you is I'm going to go ahead and copy and put that in the chat box, and on YouTube, it'll go in the comments. If you want to go ahead and check that out, you'll be able to see the benefits of it. And if you have any questions, you can always feel free to reach out to me on any of the venues that I am on. Okay, so let me go ahead and get that on the chat box. And also, please feel free to ask any other questions. One last thing that I'm going to share, because I'm going to jump off if there are no questions. But in 12 minutes, I am going to be live with a mate of mine from Australia. Her name's Sally Estelin. And like I said, my Fix You Online TV is really dedicated to, it started out with the feet, but now it's moving to the body, mind, and spirit, because I think we need some help with that, managing stress and anxiety in the world that we're living in. So I have a special guest coming on in 12 minutes on Fix You Online TV. And again, she's a good friend of mine from Australia. She's actually helped me out quite a bit during quarantine, when I was in quarantine here in the US, not because I was sick, but because it was enforced. And I will go ahead and put that link, because we're going to be starting that in just a few minutes. Here it is. So I will go ahead and copy and paste that link, and then I'll show you how to get to there as well. So and I will go ahead and share my screen so you can see it. Here it is. So Sally and we're going to be on in at 8:30 p.m. And what we're going to do, this was an interview that I did with Sally a while back. We're playing the interview. And if you notice in the right-hand corner here, you can go ahead and ask questions as the video is playing to either of us. And we'll be chatting a bit about the subjects that are going on at the time. So you have the link to that as well. And I'm pretty sure that I've covered everything that I wanted to cover. So you guys have a bunch of links, and I hope that you take advantage of getting more information for yourself and your health. So feel free to again, reach out you can join my mailing list so that you hear about upcoming events and upcoming things that I'm doing. And hopefully I'll see you again at some point in a future class, a future live, a future video, whatever. But you have my information, and I really appreciate your watching. And hopefully you've gained some insight on the exercises for the toes in particular, because again, some traditional exercises are really, they're not done properly, or they're not functional. And again, it's all about function is what is really going to help us. So I'm going to go ahead and check out what people are doing on YouTube, and then I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So if you have any more questions, I'll come back on one more time, see what people are saying. You know, if you have any questions that I can answer, go ahead and put them on. And again, thanks so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll see you in 12 minutes. All right, ciao. Okay. All righty, so, okay. Okay, now foot's feeling fatigued. I don't know if you're still on here, but are we mainly building sensory awareness in the feet? The answer to that is that you are doing both. And again, the foot is really important for sensory awareness. So because of balance, and particularly in the big toe. Again, our toes don't need to be particularly forcefully strong, because we're not lifting couches with our big toe, right? We really just need it to be in the proper alignment, and also to function in a manner that is safe and appropriate and functional for walking. So that is the answer there. You're interested in the Bunion Solution program, subscribe to the channel, keep an eye out. Thank you. Awesome. All right, not chat, yeah, okay. The links in the chat box. Thank you for putting that up there. I'm going to go ahead and put them in the comments box so that they will always be here, because chat doesn't always stay. So I'm going to put all those links in the chat box before I sign off and get that going. And then I will say good night. And again, hopefully I'll see you on the link with Sally in a few. All righty. So. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and put that link in the comments. This is to the toe masterclass. And that also deals with the, not just the exercises, but the alignment and the release. So that is that one. And then this is my interview with Sally. Which I'm going to go ahead and comment. And then we will go ahead and I think that's it. All right, guys, thanks so much. And again, any questions, go ahead and reach out. And then one last thing on YouTube, I'll put my, I will put my contact information. All right, guys, have a good night. And like I said, click the link, join me on YouTube, and I will see you in a few. Thanks again.